Everything I said after the game.
Same stuff.
No, obviously, they came out supercharged and had us on our heels, and in the paint in transition, those are two big concerns going into this series. And obviously, what changed for us was, getting back in transition, taking care of the paint. They missed a lot of really good. I mean, our three-point defense was solid, but they also missed a ton of open looks. And about six to go in that third quarter, we're down two, and we were able to go on that 20-4 run. But as I mentioned after the game, I thought the 14-2 run late in that second quarter was really important in terms of getting back into the game and giving us a little momentum going into that second half. But I think our guys just turned up their urgency and attention to detail in the things that we talked all week long in preparation for Game 1.
Michael Payton kind of just jumped into deep end in terms of playing meaningful minutes in playoff basketball. He gets the catch and shoot three on his first possession, first defensive possession. I think LeBron beats him baseline on the cut for a layup. Next defensive possession, he goes under on DHO and LeBron hits a three. How would you say he settled in from there after the hectic kind of first few possessions of playoff basketball he faced?
Yeah, I mean, it's his first real playoff minutes, and I think he was really excited to be out there. And overall, I thought he did a really good job for us, considering, his first time playing meaningful minutes in a hell of an atmosphere. And obviously, you have to control your emotions and calm yourself down a little bit. But I thought Peyton Watson was, he got in foul trouble early. Aaron got in the foul trouble early. But overall, I thought Peyton did a good job. And the back cut that you mentioned, obviously, we talked about in the timeout. We watched it at halftime. But LeBron's going to make plays, and him going under in the dribble handoff, LeBron going 3 of 3 from three in the first half. You're saying, he's about to have one of those nights. And luckily, in that second half, he cooled off from the perimeter.
Michael, we asked plenty about sort of the Jokic to Gordon lob out of the dunker. But does a play like that work as well as it does without Nikola being able to sort of make the pass out of his floater shooting form, basically, and making that defender sort of decide in the moment whether they need to step up and try and contest a shot because it looks like a floater or...
No, I think what the point you're missing is that he makes that shot.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of guys that could fake it, but they're not going to go for it because they can't make that shot. Nikola Jokic is one of the best mid-range floater shooters in the NBA, so you have to honor it. Other guys may do that, but you don't have to maybe honor that area of the floor because analytically speaking, those are bad shots, but not for a guy like Nikola Jokic. So I think, and then the fact that he can disguise it, a shot or a pass. But I think what also goes into it is that you have Aaron Gordon working behind the defense and two great shooters in the corners. And it puts a lot of pressure on that back line of defense.
Second most three-point attempts for you this season, last night. Is that something that you pay attention to? Like, you'll come in and you'll talk about, they out-rebounded us and these, key metrics. Do you look at three-point volume as something you're like, that's a little higher, that's a little low, or are you just entirely that's the flow of the offense and that's what we got out of it? How do you kind of judge that?
Yeah, I never really get too caught up in the volume. Obviously, very concerned about the efficiency, and I think that was a big thing last night. First half, we were 6 for whatever. Second half, we go 9 of 19. And Pope knocks down 4 second half threes. Jamal knocks down 2. Michael knocks down 2. And Nikola had a big one. So they were double teaming Nikola in the post right away, coming off the feeder. So one way to generate open looks, especially from three, is to create a double team. So that was their game plan going in. We're going to take Nikola's post up out of the equation. Well, then you have to be able to move the ball, screen the rotation, and generate good looks. As well as just when we get out and run, making sure we're spacing the floor properly. So not so much for me, Matt, the how many threes are we taking, but are we generating good threes, open threes, uncontested threes? And I thought for the most part last night we did a pretty good job of that.
When you look at whether you're making shots or missing shots, when you guys don't turn the ball over, the fact is that you get shots whether they're make or miss. What is the advantage of that? Being able to just get shots on every single possession, especially being the fact that you guys are such a good rebounding team on the offensive end.
Well, I thought the most important part of that last night was because number one concern going into this series, as I keep on talking about, is transition. And if you don't turn the ball over and you don't have live ball turnovers, you're keeping them. Now they're running after makes. They may try to run after a missed shot, but it's the live ball turnovers that are killers. And LeBron, obviously being one of the best in NBA history, he's a one-man break by himself. So second half, I think we had one turnover, and it was the very last play of the game when we didn't take a shot. So that allows us to, yes, you're getting a chance to get an offensive rebound, which we did a great job of last night. But more importantly for me, I think it's not allowing the Lakers to get out and run and score easy ones in transition. Because we saw it, I think they had 12 fast break points in the first half. 10 of those were in the first quarter. They did come out very aggressive, and I'm sure it's going to be even more of that tomorrow night.
We've spoken a lot about Nikola's conditioning advantage. How much of that is he's in great shape, maybe even better shape than most players, and how much of that is he's able to overcome fatigue mentally, just push through it and play hard in those moments?
Oh, definitely a combination. We were in the locker room after the game last night talking, and I was reminiscing about that game in Portland years ago, and I was telling the story to Aaron Gordon as Nikola's sitting there, and I said, yeah, I played Nikola 60 minutes one game, and as I was telling the story, he said, F you, coach. And I think people, all the time, people just base athleticism on how high can you jump, which is part of being an athlete, but there are other great athletes that may not be able to jump very high, but have stamina, have endurance, and Nikola is one of those guys that I think can run forever. And you've heard guys talk about this year, guys that have to play against him, like this guy never stops running and he never gets tired. And there's definitely a component of mentally tough. The guys that can run long distances, yes, you're physically fit to do so, but a lot of guys physically can do it, but mentally they can't sustain that. And I think that's one of the things that's remarkable about Nikola is his ability to be in great shape and mentally just fight through any walls and barriers and just run right through it.
Coach, I saw something that said you guys are the first team to beat a team 9 straight times and have less free throws than them, and the disparity is like something like 70 over those 9 games. What can you do to, I guess, make it a little more even at the free throw line in terms of attempt?
Why should we? We keep winning. You just answered your own question. I didn't know that stat, but I'm just basing it on what you're saying. But yeah, I think in the second half we had a total of 0 free throw attempts, which is obviously concerning when you consider all the, we had 30 in the paint we scored, and we had plenty of field goal attempts in the paint. So it's not like we're just settling for jump shots. We are attacking, we are posting, we are playing to the rim, and you would think that would warrant a few free throws, at least 2. We'll take 2. But that wasn't the case last night, so we just got to stay the course and continue to play the game and attack and play our style, and you hope that there's a payoff at some point. But we went into this series knowing that they had a plus 500 differential this year, and so that's something that has been happening all season long.
Last one. Coach, your team plays methodically, slow-paced, but how do you recognize the moment when you want to push the tempo and try to run out the other team?
Yeah, I mean, it's, last year we were a top 3 or 4 running team in the NBA. The first 50 or so games this year, that was not the case. But coming out of the All-Star break, we were elite. We were top 4 once again in fast break points per game. And in this building and the altitude, we have to be a team that gets out and runs, especially in the postseason, when the game tends to slow down. But for us, I think we had 21 fast break points last night. So it's not running after makes, it's not leaking out. It's for us always defending, rebounding, and then running. And to be a good running team, you need all 5 on the glass, and then you need all 5 getting out and running their lanes and getting to the right spots. And that's the advantage that we have here in the Mile High City, and we got to continue to use it to our advantage.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.